A pleasant good morning to all and sundry, sundry and all, and welcome to yet another edition of Richard's Rant. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate your attention. And as you know, the morning is the best part of the day when you wake and you have all those plans. Nothing has gone wrong. You don't need to use your plan B or your plan C as yet. And that feeling of hope and promise is what I always wish, regardless of the time of the day that you are choosing to tune in. So, I would have perused the papers. When I started these rants, I used to read 3 papers a day. But either the papers are getting thicker or I'm getting dumber or because now usually it's 1 or 1.5. And I'm a little upset today because the papers that I chose today to read, thank goodness I get it complimentary. I mean, it was just full of shit. It's perfect. It's perfectly suited for you to line a dog cob with, in my opinion. Or if you have a bird or a rabbit, you know, if it is you want to experience how grandparents used to use toilet paper with the cassette paper, but there's a saying, that you could have read the papers off your ass. In that way, I feel that the paper would have had a little bit more value just because it's on your ass. But on its own, I mean, I feel to protest for the trees that went into this shit. These trees could have been out, living their lives, swaying in the breeze, bearing fruits, giving oxygen. You murder them, grind them up, make them into pap, release all these carbon emissions in the air to warm the planet on top of the fact that the trees that was cooling it, you kill them to turn it into paper, to ship it across the world with more carbon emissions, to put it in a machine to print this shit. This is unacceptable. But nevertheless, this is the most I don't even. But this is the best of the. I don't. This is what I get from the papers. Remember these rants. Remember these rants are not scripted for the most part. So yeah. I really couldn't find an adjective that would be accurate to my sentiment and that would leave me right with Jesus. And it would be a shame to go to hell for lying. Something like this. Like them taxi drivers that always have one to go. I don't want to go to hell and see them. The foolishness. So apparently it was newsworthy because in Tobago, apparently people burning down the house because apparently they're coming home drunk and trying to cook. I read that article 4 times, and that is why it is I could only read one paper, maybe because I was hell bent on thinking that obviously I'm missing something. The newspaper is for PSAs. I guess you could put a PSA, but it didn't state PSA. This was news. This was in the front of the. What going on in Tobago that this is news? This is. I ain't. How? Anyway, a UE professor. I had to recover. Sorry for the pause. A UE professor. Again, I don't even know who asked him anything. If he sent this into the papers or if the papers went and took him. But I don't see how this is your business. Why it is in. I know have a professor meeting and come up with how it is we could properly attain the shortfall in government funding or maybe streamline operations to run more effective or be more competitive. How the ass you get into this? But some adventure seeking group went and TTV'd itself all the way up La Soufrière. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but the Vinci volcano now. And La Soufrière. Whatever. So they TTV'd themselves up the mountain. They all adults, they all grown. They take some pictures, as I think they ought to, if you TTV yourself up the mountain. You jump in, how it is the people and them, they reckless, they reckless. Nobody has that had to do with you. One of them is your child, your man, your woman, your what that had to do with you? How that come your business? How that reach my business? Where you say why you so important just because you see UE seismic? What that to do with the papers? A tree get murdered for we to print this shit? Them is adults, and I don't even know why it is you jumping out your whole self. So because if people didn't take risk in the first place to document what it is that having books now, you wouldn't get the privilege of being a professor to sit down and just read and regurgitate and get 20 something or $1,000 a month. The way that those things end up in the book is from people actually getting to fuck up and living it, doing it, experiencing it, and creating it. So how else were we to get the information and stuff? You think that when it is they was climbing the volcano, they was gonna sacrifice a god or something? Yes, we currently in the Hindu festival of Durga, which is the reincarnation of Lord Shiva, the creator of the universe. Hindus have 150 gods and a whole bunch of festivals. I don't know why India is now nicer, happier place, you know. It should be a lime, but I guess when you have all them people on top of each other, you know how people is, and then there's a lot of curry eating. So curry is a natural laxative regardless of your ethnic background. So that whole place must be smelling like George Street after it rained. So maybe that is why they're unhappy. I answer my own question by theory. But coming back to this thing with the volcano, they would have known that it had what a pyroclastic flow is, that there's the hot air and wherever else there's be in it, and if it touch you, you could dead. Your car outrun it, it just move at 200 miles per hour. If it is the volcano erupt, you go dead. If it is a rock fall on you, you go dead. They know these things. And furthermore, on top of that, how the ass it is it any significantly different from anything else that we just do? When you jump in your car, you could dead. When you go outside, you could dead. When you sit down inside an earthquake could come and you could end up in a sinkhole, and guess what? You're dead. So, alright, fine, the heightened risk and whatever have you, but is there heightened risk to take? Why that in the papers? Why a tree had to get murdered? It have studies that say that plants could feel pain. Why? And speaking of Vince, them people and them when they was leaving. I wanted to call them bitches, but I will be insensitive, so I will not call them bitches. But I find that this was a bitch move, but they were scared and as humans and whatnot, so I will not call them bitches. Those people and them, thought I was gonna call them bitches, and nah, I wouldn't call them bitches. But those people, they leave the pets behind. I don't know if this is a testimony to culture or humanity, but how the ass you go leave your pet behind? Not your livestock, Not that they have a farm, and of course they couldn't bring all of the 50 cows and thing on the boat and whatever have you, so they release them into the wild and they hope for the best. I mean, Rover, Blackie, wherever you would name a cat, Sylvester, Tweety Bird, them the goldfish in the aquarium, they leave that, And it's not even to say that the volcano was erupting and you had to run for your life. They had the proper evacuation, they had the timing, they had the warnings and all of that. They just one of the dogs and them jump in the sea and swim out to the boat. What? These people heartless? How it is you could do that? You liming with this animal all the time, the animal coming and licking your foot. I don't know if you all was privileged enough to see the viral clip with the man with the pet goat, and he and the goat went in the bakery, and the goat pick out what pastries it wanted, and the man buy it, and then he buy pastries for himself, and then he get the goat one, and then he went on the bike, and the goat went on the bike behind him and hold on to him, and they drive off into the sunset. Animals have a sense, a common sense, and arguably probably more than us. Animals could vote. Animals would know the volcano erupting. We needed to make seismic technology to tell us. But what the animal didn't know is that you was a mother cunt. How it is you go leave the dog? How much space the dog taking up? You, where the dog go eat? You ain't have nobody on the other side of the island self to carry the dog or something. I find that so bad. That's so, and even if it is you had a whole farm, I would assume that you would like with the animals. As food for thought, the people that have a whole farm or whatnot, like what would they have done? Perhaps maybe the government could have put something on the other side of the island for the animals, or I guess make some kind of arrangement, or maybe they could have just curry everything and freeze it. But come on, man, how you gonna do that to Rover and whatnot? I hope that is Vinci culture. But Vinci's supposed to be an island of sweetness and spice and thing. And ecotourism and niceness. That was real. I don't even know. I don't even know. And then I show these people walk with the earthly possessions. Huh? I show they pick up stuff from the house and whatnot. So you telling me you value wherever you pack in that bag more than I know that ain't feeling right. I also watching all of this water that we sending for them. I don't know if it have a water shortage. It's possible because of the ash. It's possible, I guess. But I don't know if it have a water shortage over there and all these tens of thousands of cases of water. All this pollution, all them water bottles. As a species, we doesn't I don't know, no. It have the small picture and it have the big picture, and I feel that we just have a real hard time seeing the big picture. We just see the trees very well, but we doesn't realize it's part of a forest. Especially if the tree shading we would see that very well. But we wouldn't realize it's part of a forest or ecosystem. Another piece of shit in the papers was that, as we know, Smiley, aka Frankie, aka Franklin Khan, he died. He had this illustrious political career. And, may he rest in peace. He was loved, wherever have you. The only one that I like is Auntie Cam Cam, and that's because, she and I born the same day, and she is a woman of the people. You want some money, you go by Auntie Cami. Auntie Cami will give you some money. She will find some money. She will call the treasury personally. She will get you some. And if you have a child, oh Lord, you're set. But yeah, this one was Rowley friend. And in the papers, it have a big article that take up a whole page that said, oh, how they want to know if it is the opposition going to come to Parliament today to do the tribute to Frank. Why that's in the paper? If you want to know, send a WhatsApp. A tree dead for this. Even if it is you want to fluff up the papers, oh God, fluff it up with something proper. Now look at how much things going on in the world. You could pick and choose. Look at how much things happening. Look at how much queries and concerns people are. Why it is here and do I investigate piece of journalism and the fact that a couple months ago you tell me how it is we was overdrawn by $10 billion in the blasted treasury. But all of a sudden, all the talk is Corona this and Corona that and Corona spike and Corona that. And you know what? I'm not one for the conspiracy theories and all of that, but because of patient-doctor confidentiality, we have no idea exactly who these people with Corona is, right? I know somebody that had Corona, he and his husband, and well, no, they in Trinidad, boyfriend. They just call each other husband, but it's not legal, common law otherwise, so to be politically correct. And yeah, they get it, they quarantine, they survived, they was fine. And that is one person. But this thing as elusive as all the lotto winners. Lotto going on for decades now and I never meet a lotto winner. Yes, they just keep them confidential. But apart from the lotto winners, which is a mystery to uncover by itself, in an island of only 200 and something thousand adults, I can't understand how up to now I never meet a lotto winner. And lotto started when I was in primary school. So arguably yesterday, because you know how young I am. And and up to now I have not met one. But I don't know. Completely unfounded, purely theoretical, no proof behind it, 100% conjecture. I wondering if this corona thing could also be a distraction from other things that going on. And the true state of the economy and the unemployment rate and the crime rate and the unsolved murders and the high profile murders and the stuff that going on in the police service, including but not limited to the fact that Gary Griffith again getting sued. The magistrate gave a nod that you could sue Gary because he called the Bajans and them to come in to do the independent probe into the drug susu. And I started to realize that this is why things are the way they are. The system itself is broken, just like Trevor Noah said, it's a rotten tree. Except it's not apples on our trees, Pomsity, but it's a rotten tree. This man come in and he tried to do what he could do, and now it is he could personally get sued. You could imagine if it is you could personally get sued in your job, but apparently he could. I hope the state pay him his for his representation and all of that. Apparently, it have some kind of a state act as to what it is he could and can do as it pertains to the SRPs and investigating crimes and the persons accused in the DSS scandal, stating that that act was violated. So they had to go to court over that and waste taxpayers' money. And of course, we, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, not going to stand up and protest for that. It's not like Gary's a woman or he got slain, so you're not going to have any candlelight vigils or online petitions or anything like that. And the man might get tired and throw in the towel because you know he's a little old too. And we'll get somebody that willing to not do a damn thing, just like everybody else before. And then we'll be like, why? But you know, when it's time to act, we slack. And then again, too, we have a mentality that we need to have. We need permission, and we need to have an authority figure, and we need to not be responsible on our own. It's somebody else's fault. For example, as we had the last lockdown, I heard a lot of people saying it good for them. It good for them when it is Rowley say and when it's like, dude, this is not a parent-child relationship. This is not punishment, and it's not Rowley say. He's supposed to say with our permission. He's supposed to represent the majority, but that's not our mentality. Maybe we don't realize the power that we have. But I saw this, switching gears a little bit, and it was a little bit amusing to me. A beautiful full page ad. A full page ad in the daily papers will cost around $6,000 to $12,000, depending on if you get a deal or a special or whatever, plus VAT. So I saw a full page ad, nice beautiful color, with an old man skipping, and it's advertising critical illness. And I felt it was insulting or ageist because at what age, just because you could skip, people would actually resonate and respond to that and think about how they would be when they're older. Okay, when it is a baby born and it take its first step and its first word and you know it eat and its first shit, you celebrate. But then you become a adult at some point and nobody does celebrate that you could walk or you could shit. So at what age do we start back celebrating, oh my god, you could walk and you could shit and you could skip although you're old? I don't know. Of course, maybe I overthink it, but I hope he was paid well for it. And I also saw this fantasticness in that this art, Chinese art, sold for $45 million. I have no idea what gives art its value, except humans. But I don't know why, just because somebody put some paint on a piece of paper or canvas, it does be worth so much money. But you know what? I'm not really here to change the system. I think that all of you all listening should invest in some art. Or maybe all of you all could team up on the YouTube page, make a corporation whereby we all contribute a fixed amount of money, elect a treasurer, and we'll start an investment company whereby as a group we would invest in particular assets and then split the money quarterly or reinvest it accordingly. And one of the things that we should purchase is art because that shit doesn't ever seem to depreciate, just like land. But land, of course, you could understand. I have no idea why art is so valuable. Even Jay-Z sing about it, rap about it, talk about it, wherever he do about it. And I was also looking at the fact that as an employee, we try to do everything right and not get in trouble and not get fired. But if you read the business section, businesses just get in trouble all the time, like all the time. And it is the business as usual. So much so that I think that sometimes they weigh the pros and cons and they take an acceptable risk. Sagicor could no longer trade. Of course, it will be temporary. We can't ban them forever. But they could no longer trade on the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange because they no longer meet the requirements necessary. There was a merger or a sale or acquisition, some kind of a change, and they didn't quite do what they were supposed to do. So now they could no longer trade on Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange. And I was thinking, like when I had my business, when my business was more profitable, and every time I made a mistake, I used to feel like I so incompetent and what it is I doing. And it's really not that big a deal. I'd have a whole recall on a treadmill because children dying from it. I don't even understand how the children dying, but one child died, a pet get injured, another child get injured. Something to do with the rollers and it trapping them. It reminded me of when I was smaller and thought the escalator was going to eat me. I also thought the shower head was going to eat me. The shower head didn't have teeth, but it used to find a way. It used to find a way. And it was always an unpleasant experience. But in this case, yeah, the thing eating the children, I guess, like Pennywise, not the story clown in it. Why is it what a coincidence? Huh. Anybody ever realized that before? Hit me up in the comments and let me know. And it have so much rumors about Pennywise doing OBR and how oppressive a work environment it is. Imagine that. The one piece of news that I thought was actually newsworthy today was that Sean Luke's trial finally is starting. And of course, I don't know how the accused attorneys just sleep in the night, but their case of abuse was dismissed by the judge and is not a jury held case. It's just to be heard by a judge to make a decision. I didn't know that that was a thing, but again, that was the one article in the paper I felt was worth my time. And they were saying how it is they get feed late and all kind of damn shit. So the judge said that, okay, so they get feed late. How does that mean that they was traumatized? They was traumatized by a late meal? Why it is you even bring that before the court? And you know what upset me too? The fact is, the point is, the people and them have rights. They murder a child since they was 14 and 16. They're 28 and 30 now. Talk about that. It shouldn't take so long for them to be on trial. Talk about that. Talk about the fact that they were minors and the police didn't read them the rights because the police is, bullies with badges. So they just act on emotions and whatnot. So because they kill a child, they just throw the rights out the window. And the evidence procured and the method and whatnot is questionable. Tell me about that, but don't be telling me no shit about they get feed late. I get feed late. I hungry right now. Who it is I going and sue for that? Foolishness. Wasting paper again. I don't know how them sleeping at night. I don't know who paying them. I wonder if it's we paying them. It's taxpayers paying them, because if it them never work, I don't even know if you could do CXC and thing in youth prison. But them two never work. So who paying the attorney to come up with this folly? Anyway, that is it, That is it for today. I'm going and get something to eat, because I'm really hungry. And the papers upset me. To upset my spirit. A set of shippiness for a whole paper, the number one, the first paper in the country, all kind of thing. A set of foolishness. A set of fluff. Anyway, just do the best that you can do. Subscribe to the vibe, comment it or betterment. And I do appreciate the comments, even when they come in private. For example, I have to do some more research into the vaccine, because someone was able to find some stuff online that suggests that the DNA vaccine is actually being produced, and also that Bill Gates said that the world is overpopulated and the population needs to be reduced, and his company was the first one to come up with a vaccine, which actually sparked a lot of the theories. So I wish that the person had put it on the page, because I do say comment to our betterment, but I am grateful all the same, and will be doing some more research into that. So again, thank you for listening, and subscribe to the vibe. Please comment on the page. It helps towards our betterment. And good morning. Have a good rest of your day. Vibes.